Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. We are coming to you live from our studios here at Kokom, namely in Accra. We are live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. I am Carlos Kaloni.
And I'm Faustina. So for tonight, government expenditure, taxes and nurses recruitment takes center stage in the 2025 media budget review as government notifies the IMF of its decision to cap public sector wage increases at 10%. We have details plus hear from the business community and labor unions.
Also, scholarship, take up. Government pushes bold reforms, a controversial scholarship bill that will cut off relatives of politicians and ban state funding for studies abroad.
Also tonight, internal opposition to the controversial move to force several key NDC executives to resign their position in the party following the unprecedented number of party executives appointed by President John Dramani Mahama to serve in government. We have details from a tense National Executive Committee meeting of the NDC that ended inconclusively. Also, Ghana performs its first ever cardiac ablation procedure to correct irregular heartbeat. We've got details as health experts call for urgent government support to expand access to the life-saving procedure. Thanks for staying with us. Now, tonight, government has pledged to the International Monetary Fund to limit public sector wage hikes to 10%, alongside a projected decrease in expenditure on goods and services for this year. This commitment is highlighted in the IMF latest report on Ghana, which cautioned that significant fiscal deviation could jeopardize the program. This development comes ahead of the Finance Minister, Dr. Kassia Latu-Forsen's presentation of the 2025 media budget review tomorrow. We'll hear reactions from the business community as well as labor unions shortly. But first, Joy News' research team has been studying the report, and lead data and research analyst Isaac Kofi joins us in the studio with more on this. Kofi, what exactly have we been finding out?
Well, so what government has been telling the IMF in the latest review is that, look, we want to continue the fund program, but not on the wheels of revenue mobilization, but rather on the wheels of expenditure cuts. And they told the IMF that, look, we are aware that we have to deal with a wage bill of almost 77 billion Ghana cedis. That's more than $7 billion this year. What are we going to do? The assurance to the fund is that public sector wage increases this year will be capped at 10%. And government is also going to reduce its expenditure on goods and services. That is the kind of assurance that the current administration actually gave to the IMF when they came to town to do the review. And so the story is that government is currently worrying about that 77 billion Ghana cedis wage bill, because that takes about 30% of the current total revenue and grant projected for this year, which is somewhere around 225 billion Ghana cedis. And it will be interesting to see what the finance minister will say tomorrow, because the nurses are in line. Public sector workers are also in line. And the assurance from the president was that take 10% for now. When things begin to get better, we probably will review the conditions of service. We don't know if that will happen this year or next year, but what we are learning from the IMF program is that public sector wage bill increases actually currently capped at 10%.
And what will be the implications moving forward?
Nurses currently are watching what will happen tomorrow, and definitely government is saying that what the finance minister said in the main budget was that they have actually looked at the single spine salary structure and they have seen loopholes in there, and public workers are using that loopholes to actually call for more salary. So they are going to close that, and they feel that that loophole has been used for quite some years to actually look for some form of remuneration upgrade. And they are going to close that, and possibly what they are telling the IMF is that wage bill will be capped at 10%. The implication, definitely we all don't know whether there will be more agitations or the nurses will decide that, well, we agree, implement 50% of our demands and possibly do the rest in 2026.
Thank you, Kofi.
Well, away from the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Joseph Obin, raised concerns over the high cost of doing business despite the recent stability of the economy.
So the macroeconomic indicators has improved significantly. It is not translating into lower cost of production and doing business, which does not make economic sense. The stability did not bring cost of utilities down. Interest rate is still very high and yet to come down. So we believe that we have to do any mechanism to pull these factors also along so that it will make meaning to businesses. So these are the measures I'm expecting the finance minister to pull these things that I'm talking about. The fiscal policy and the monetary policy, as we all know, should work hand in hand to assure that we are able to trickle down the gains that we've got into these other areas I'm talking about in terms of utilities, the interest rates, and the rest. The structure and cost of the value-added tax is a huge challenge to businesses. It needs to be revised to be more simplified, affordable, and uniform. The trading community will be better served with the flat rate scheme if it should be considered. It's very important that we also think about the flat rate scheme so that compliance will be assured. General cost of doing business is still very high. Duty payments are still very much unbearable. We expect measures that will help prune down the taxes and levies to mitigate the plight of businesses.
Deputy spokesperson for the registered nurses and midwives, Philemon Japon, said they are expecting the government to provide a roadmap for the recruitment of the backlog of nurses still at home.
To see the three agreed conditions factored into the budget. Nurses are expecting to hear the mention of nurses and midwives conditions of service mentioned in the budget, and the fact that they are also important employees or essential service staff in Ghana. Secondly, nurses are looking forward to the bigger, broader budget, which will be ready in November, to encompass all the other allowances that have been pushed to next year, 2026.
But in terms of recruitment, there's the question whether government will be able to recruit more nurses. Is it an issue that's on your table as well?
That is a very important discussion that we are having now. We have shortages and we have about 50,000 nurses that are waiting to be recruited. So the government must factor the recruitment of nurses and midwives as part of the budget. They must consider those who have stayed home for 3 years, 4 years, and then employ them, and then have a sectional recruitment process as and when the budget can contain. At the moment, we have heard of teachers recruitment and different other cadres. Meanwhile, there are promises in by the Minister for Health that the government is envisaging building new chiefs compound and building new health centers. And I believe nurses and midwives are the key staff that are going to work in such areas. So we are looking forward for recruitment of nurses and midwives.
Well, this comes at a time when Minister of Youth Development and Empowerment, George Opariado, says they need more funds to run government flagship programs under the ministry.
Engaged with the finance ministry, we said we needed capex because as a new ministry, we needed to buy vehicles, we needed to set up. But at that time when the budget was being prepared, I told you I didn't have a budget officer, I didn't have the core staffs. Yeah. But we needed to submit something. So what we did was, let's put together what is immediate, what we need to do immediately, and let's see if we can get funding.
And the budget speaks to that. So Jumara was allocated 100 million.
100 million.
And then the others. But I'm curious. So the 2 million cedis is...
It's for goods and services. We'll buy electricity, we'll buy fuel. It's for running of the office, okay, more or less, goods and services, paper.
But 2 million cedis should have run out by now.
We are being...
it's 4 months?
We are managing it well.
2 million cedis?
Yes, that is what we have. So
it hasn't run out? Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's run out or it's not run out. But at least we are...
But realistically...
It's not enough.
Yes.
It's not enough.
Are you expecting mid-year is...
I've had discussions with the finance minister, and the president himself has assured that going forward will be properly funded.
Well, let's go on the lines and speak to President of the Greater Accra branch of AGI, Chonam Akpelo. Grateful for your time. From your organization, now government clearly says that they're going to cut, expenditure by 10%. This should have some impact on what you do at AGI.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. Good evening to your cherished listeners. Yes, so we've been following the running of the government quite keenly since the beginning of the year. So far, the economy has been fairly stable in terms of the macro indicators. And so we're looking forward to a more sustained indicators, inflation, interest rates, and so on. Obviously, government cut off its budget, it would affect industry. Because government remains one of our biggest customers, either you're supplying or you're buying, etc., etc. So naturally, once they cut, it would affect us. But our biggest focus really is to see how the environment will be conducive for exporting the things we produce. So really, that's where the issue is. So we are looking forward to seeing policies and programs that allow industry to export most of the things that we're producing. So we will be looking forward keenly to see how industry is being incentivized under the budget for that purpose.
One would say that you're already enjoying that, considering the relative stability of the city. Yes,
I'm saying that. To be fair, the economy has been fairly stable. I mean, the city, even though there's some reports of shortage of hard currency. But in terms of the exchange rate, it's far better. And so that's good for industry. What we are calling for is to make sure that it's sustained and it's long-term, so we can have the room to be able to plan, as well as also understanding the incentives that government intend to provide industry under the 24-hour plus economy initiative of the government.
What are these incentives yourself as AGI you are looking forward to?
Sorry, say it again.
I want to know the particular incentives AGI is looking forward to in the media budget.
Well, so I'm saying that government already established some incentives that they will provide under the 24 economies. For example, some tax incentives, levies incentives, and so on and so forth. I mean, if you are doing one shift, there are certain incentives you enjoy. If you are doing 3 shifts and so on and so forth. What we are saying is that we would like to see all of that highlighted in the budget, because that's the only way we can see its real impact, and we're looking forward to seeing all of that. But very importantly, the issue has about taxation has to do more with the VAT, because currently the way it is being calibrated is not favorable for local production. Okay, because the VAT is input-output tax. It's a consumption tax essentially. Okay, so we input 21%, okay, which is 15 VAT plus 6 levies, making 21%. But in outputting it, you are only able to output 15%, leaving the 6% hanging, which become unbearable cost for industry.
Right.
Okay? So we are looking forward for that whole VAT issue to be structured. I mean, in a way that is favorable for industry. We've had the conversation with government. We've been assured that it will be looked at. Our hope is that it will be put
looked at
tomorrow's media budget.
All right, thank you.
That way, the industry will have the freedom to navigate around the very difficult terrain of producing in Ghana.
All right, we'll leave it here.
Well, let's head now to Parliament, where the chairman of Parliament's Committee on Economy and Development, Eric Afful, has hinted that tomorrow's media budget review will stick to the total appropriation approved in March, and no requests will be made for additional funds. Finance Minister Dr. Kasi Alatu Forson will present a statement to Parliament tomorrow, as you may be aware, to review the 2025 budget. According to Eric Afful, in line with the fiscal prudence that government has been pushing, government will stick with the existing appropriation.
Investigation I've done so far is that the government will not come to the House to ask for additional funds. That's the first thing I want us to establish. We are not coming to the House to, ask for additional funds to execute the budget or the budget for 2025. What we are going to do is that we are going to stay within the appropriation of 293 billion that was programmed to execute the 2025 budget. For that matter, the presentation will be done through a statement, not through a motion. A statement means that the government is not asking for additional funds. So the members of parliament will only do or will have a comment on the statement.
Well, Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us with some details from the House. Now, Kweku, the minority have their own expectations. I mean, demanding that the finance minister does more to show that he's actually in control of the economy, right?
They admit that it appears things have stabilized quite a bit, particularly since January of this year that the NDC government took over from the NPP. However, their insistence is that it appears the finance minister is not spending enough and he's not releasing money to the various ministries, departments, and agencies. And that is why there is a facade of an economic stabilization. And if the finance minister were to release funds to the various MDAs to spend, perhaps the dollar will tank against the cedi. Listen to him.
They have not actually turned this economic round. There's not been any production to warrant the kind of gains that we've made. But at the ministries, if you are not spending, we've realized that the finance minister is not spending. Contractors have not been paid. Even ministries have not been given their allocations. So if you are holding on to the money, obviously the currency will be doing better against the major currencies like the dollar. So until he begins to spend and begin to give the ministries money to spend, then we can then be measuring output. But for now, there is nothing going on.
I'm quite interested in the majority's response.
Well, yes, according to the MP for Bekum, is the NPP simply seeing some of the things they are making because they have to oppose and be in an opposition party. But as far as we are concerned, the government has already laid out the processes and the economic transformation program is working.
We are almost 7 months down the line. So far, so good. Cost of doing business is coming down, inflation coming down, exchange rate coming down. You can see for yourself, cost of living is coming down. So there's good news to hear tomorrow, and we're looking forward to hearing that. Looking at what we have done so far, in fact, a lot of people were not even expecting us to have done even this much. Because looking at how some of the indicators we came to meet, how bad this economy was performing. Virtually, we took over a junk economy, but now you can see for yourself.
Well, Kweku, will the minority be at tomorrow's presentation? What are you picking up?
We understand, and in fact, it's a public knowledge that the minority intends to present a petition to the President of the Republic tomorrow. The indication we are getting is that the presentation of this petition is perhaps going to be done at the same time as the media budget being read on the floor. And so while they have not officially confirmed that they are going to boycott proceedings tomorrow, the indication we are getting is that perhaps we are not going to see the minority MPs in the chamber when the finance minister reads the media budget statement. However, they are keeping their cards very close to their chest. We've been digging to get some information from the leadership of the minority. They say we should look out for tomorrow. And so it is possible that tomorrow the minority MPs will not be on the floor while the media budget is being presented, because they say they are going to present a petition to the president, to Poleo, and a host of other very important national institutions on national matters. They have not specifically stated which specific national matters they want to address, but it is very possible the minority will not be in the chamber tomorrow when Dr. Kassila supports him with the media budget statement, Carlos and Faustina. And I like Faustina's style, by the way.
Thank you so much, Kweku. Well, the governing National Democratic Congress is tonight facing an unprecedented test with a controversial move that may force several key party executives to resign their positions. The National Executive Committee has been in a tense meeting today, considering whether to force out more than half of its 7 national officers most elected at the last party congress. Now, the party has in a few hours ago discussed issues regarding appointment and those who are actually serving in government. Take a listen.
An elected mandate for 4 years. I don't believe that the work I do as Minister for Youth Development conflicts with my work as National Youth Organizer. We have sitting members of parliament who go to their constituencies every month, every week, and go and work. Also sit in as ministers, and there's been no conflict whatsoever. So if I was an MP and I was a minister, would I be conflicted? No. So if I still serve as National Youth Organizer and I am Minister of State, there is no conflict because there are two independent roles. And my work as Youth Organizer and my work as Minister are two distinct things. It's just like being an MP and serving your constituents and also being a minister and serving the states. There are two distinct roles. If NEC comes up strongly and says that we should resign, maybe. But I remember making it very clear to them at NEC, at FEC, that it's a constitutional issue, and so we must relook at our constitution as a party. In 2009, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu was National Youth Organizer until 2010, when we went to Congress, and then a new National Youth Organizer was elected in the person of Ludwig Roger.
Well, the NDC National Executive Committee has been meeting on the issue, considering whether to force several of the current executives who are also serving in government out. We have the latest from that meeting for you now. But shortly, let me engage my colleague, Kaleb Zilim, who joins me in the studio with just details of what exactly we know and how this would turn the fortunes of the NDC around. Kaleb, what have you been finding out?
So for Sina, we found 16 NDC executives who have now been appointed in the new NDC administration.
Okay.
So 16 of them, at least 16 of them. And we've been combing through the executives and we're finding them. So this is not an exhaustive list. There are more than 16, definitely.
Interesting.
We have found 16 so far. And then the breakdown is we have 7 elected national executives. So these are the board chairman, the national organizer, the youth organizers, and then women's organizers. Then the NDC also have something they call appointed executives. That's where we have the director for legal affairs, like Ediji Tamakloes. And then we have director of elections and other special roles that are appointed. And we have 4 regional executives as well who have also been appointed into the government. Now, if you look at the list, we have for the national executives, we have Asidu Nketia. He has now been appointed the board chairman of the Ports and Harbours Authority. Then we have Mustafa Bandi. He's at the presidency now. He is now the deputy director of operations at the presidency. And he is also the deputy general secretary of the party. We have Sami Jemfi, the communications officer. He's now CEO of Gold Board. We have Mali Basintali. He's also deputy communications officer, and he's now the CEO of YEA, the Youth Employment Agency. We have Hannah Bisiu, the women's organizer. She's now the administrator of the Mineral Development Fund. We have George Opare Ado. He's the youth organizer, and now he's the youth minister. And then his deputy, Osman Ayariga, the deputy national youth organizer. He's also now the CEO for the National Youth Authority, or the NYA. And then if you look at the appointed executives, we have Ediji Tamaklo, the Director for Legal Affairs of the NDC. He is now the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority. We have Omane Boama, who is the Director for Elections. He is now the Defense Minister.
Yeah.
We have Broja Jemfi. He is the Deputy Director of Special Duties for the NDC. He's now the Deputy Defense Minister. We have Tanko Computer, Rashid Tanko Computer, who is the Deputy Director of IT and Elections for the NDC. He's also now CEO of GIFEC. And then we have Joshua Alabi. He was appointed the Vice Chair of the NDC's NEC, the National Executive Council. And he is now the GCB Board Chair. And then lastly, if you come to the regional executives, we have Charles Luanga. He was the NDC's Upper West Regional Secretary. And he is now the Upper West Regional Minister. We have Frank Amwakohene, Dr. Frank Amwakohene. He was the Ashanti Regional Secretary for the NDC, and he's now the Ashanti Regional Minister. We have John Kwejo Japon. He was the Secretary for Oti Region. He's now the Oti Regional Minister. And we have James Gunu. He's the Watia Regional the VOTA region secretary for the NDC, as well as the VOTA regional minister now. So these are the executives of the NDC who are now in government.
Thank you, Kaleb. And we're told that that meeting between key members of the National Executive Committee ended inconclusively. Yeah. We're keeping our eyes on that, and we'll have updates as soon as we have it. We'll bring it to you.
Well, to some other story, there's an easy calm at Watia MadiaSHS following violent altercation between two students over a secret video recording. Hafiz Bawad reportedly confronted his colleague Idrisu Ibrahim for recording him without consent and demanded the footage be deleted. When Lincoln refused, the argument escalated, leading to an alleged stabbing. Lincoln was rushed to the Upper West Regional Hospital for treatment. An eyewitness recounts what happened.
Yesterday it was in the dormitory around 7 to 8. We were in the dormitory when there was some arguments going on. So we realized that one boy was having a jackknife with him. So I don't know whether it was a play or they were serious. He just stabbed the other boy with a jackknife at the side of his belly. And then they started chasing the other boy, and the headmaster took the one they took to the hospital. So they started chasing the other boy down to the bungalow, and they were throwing stones and fighting. Like some were trying to protect the one that choked the other one with the knife, and some were also trying to beat the one who choked with the knife. So there were fights around, and they were throwing stones around.
Well, Upper West Regional correspondent joins us via Zoom with more on this. Rafiq, what's the condition of the student currently?
Now, some few hours ago, Idrisu Ibrahim, otherwise known as Lincoln, was moved from the surgical theater of the Upper West Regional Hospital to the recovery room. And then I spoke to doctors, the Upper West Regional, the acting medical director of the Upper West Regional Hospital, Dr. Philip Babene. He told me that his condition is stable and then he will recover. That is his expectation very soon. And so at the hospital, we also bumped into the Wa mayor in the person of Alhaji Issa Nura Danwana, who also visited the victim right at the hospital, and he was not really happy about what transpired at the Watia MadiaSHS High School. And so, as you rightly said, the school is on uneasy calm. When I went there this afternoon, I saw the students, and then they were in somber mood. There was a lot of excitement about what really transpired, and they are hoping and feeling and thinking that they will be able to recover very soon. But also earlier in the day, the Upper West Regional Director of the Ghana Education Service, in the person of Mr. Idrisu, Abdul Razak Kora, visited the school and also to at least to speak to the students about what transpired, and also to advise them, admonish them against whatever indiscipline issues that are at the school.
Thank you, Rafiq.
Away from the 25-year-old man has died following a fire outbreak at an uncompleted force station at Ejra Babaso in the Ashanti region. According to the Ghana National Fire Service, the incident occurred on Tuesday near the community cemetery. The victim, identified as Ali Abubakar, was found dead at the scene with his charred body handed over to the Ejra Police Command for further investigation. Let's now go on Zoom and speak to the head of public relations at the Ghana National Fire Service, Divisional Officer 2, Desmond Aka, for more details. Thank you so much for your time here. What more can you tell us about this particular incident?
Well, let me first of all say a very good evening to your cherished viewers. I think it's quite unfortunate that yesterday we had to lose this the life of this young man. What we have gathered so far, the place is being built to be used as a full-fledged fuel station, but currently it has not been completed, and therefore, those of you who know it so well, there is this search in people trying to sell fuel in this small gallons,
right?
Especially at hours a day, to be able to serve the motorbike tricycles that are predominantly used in that particular place. So they were trying to manage with the sales of those ones, and at the same time also preparing attire interview. So during the process of preparing the attire and maybe decanting the petrol into other smaller containers, the fuel vapor mixture, and then caught up with the heat from the naked light attire, pop up, and then it started the fire. But unfortunately, they were in the room. If you check the pictures that we sent to the media, you realize that there were three in the room. But unfortunately, the other person did not escape. But the two escaped with some injuries on their body. So that is a preliminary investigation that we've done. But we will still want to delve deeper. Because if you look where the charred body was found, it was just closer to the window. We are also trying to get the assistance of the police to help us to unravel the circumstances that led that site. So it is early days yet. We are not done with the investigation.
Do you know whether the facility was licensed, and what further steps are you taking to prevent similar incidents from happening?
So looking at the facility, which is not completed, and they are doing this illegal activity, definitely it will not be licensed. And not that we know of their records. Therefore, we cannot confirm whether it is licensed. And then also, in trying to avert this, I think there has to be a multi-stakeholder approach whereby some form of enforcement would have to be, collaborative enforcement would have to be done if the assembly and then the other agencies within the municipal come together to do that, beyond the public education that we have been doing. And then also, if the people are caught, there has to be sanctions. And once they are sanctioned, and then also clamp down that kind of racketeering activity.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Well, away from that to other stories now, we're putting our spotlights on some of the key issues happening in the road traffic crashes sector. Please stay with us. We'll give you details after the break.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us here on Johnny's Prime.
To other stories now, the Ashanti Regional Security Council is holding an emergency meeting following the fatal shooting of a Kusasi chief in the Asawasi suburb. The victim, Abdul Malik Azimbe, was gunned down in front of his home near F-Line Community Center on Tuesday. The incident has sparked outrage, with the Kusasi Chiefs Association demanding swift justice and urging police to expedite the investigations. And Watia MadiaSHS has more in the following report.
Say two unidentified men arrived on a motorbike when one of them, armed with what appeared to be an AK-47 rifle, dismounted and shot the chief multiple times before fleeing the scene. Chief Abdul Malik Azembi, who was enskinned barely 3 months ago as the Kandi Divisional Chief, has played a significant role in peace-building efforts related to the Boko conflict. He was rushed to the Mensha District Hospital and later transferred to the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. His killing has sparked outrage among the Kusasi community in the Ashanti region. The Ashanti Regional Kusasi Chiefs Association has condemned the attack, describing it as a direct blow to ongoing peace efforts and a threat to community stability. They are calling on authorities to act swiftly to bring the perpetrators to book. Naba Wilson Dakum is chairman of the association.
It's very painful. It's very painful, but it's very painful. So that's why we are pleading to the securities concerned, and then the Minister of Interior, since he has already released a statement, they should do all that they can do to let us have justice. Because it has ever happened. This is about 6 times that these people have ambushed and killed our people down here. So we are seeking for proper justice. The police will say they are doing the investigation, but up to now, we are not hearing those things that has happened. We are not hearing anything. But this time around, in fact, we are just calming down the youth.
Now, the government has revealed that it has successfully negotiated a deal that will see a major mine returned to Ghanaian ownership by next year. Speaking at the Government Accountability Series at the Jubilee House, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, stressed that the Mahama-led administration is committed to ensuring that the people of Ghana are the true beneficiaries of the nation's natural resources and have ownership of large-scale mining operations. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbagba has more in the following report.
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, says 907 out of 1,278 small-scale mining licenses are currently under review for possible revocation due to irregularities identified by the Small-Scale Mining Review Committee. He said that a similar exercise is ongoing to review large-scale mining licenses to ensure compliance. He said, among others, all excavator imports are now being tracked.
In the fight against Galamsey, it must be noted that 55 small-scale mining licenses issued during the transitional period were revoked at the beginning of the year. Additionally, 907 out of 1,278 licenses, and these are small-scale mining licenses, are now under review for possible revocation due to irregularities identified by the Small-Scale Mining Review Committee. In collaboration with the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Finance under the GRA Customs Division and the Ports and Harbours Authority, we have initiated a proactive tracking of all imports of excavators and earth-moving equipment from the point of entry. So far, 1,200 excavators have been impounded, pending validations before clearance at the port. We are also developing a centralized digital platform named the Ghana Mine Repository and Tracking Software that has been deployed at the Minerals Commission and is at an advanced stage to support this initiative. This is very, very innovative. This is very, very new. As you know, we are now able to track the excavators before they even set off to come to Ghana. And when they get there, the Minerals Commission, DVLA, everybody is there. And we have also tracking them to the geofencing and geotracking control room at the Minerals Commission.
The future of a 100 million Black Volta gold project was in limbo until recently, as a dispute between Azuma Resources Limited and engineers and planners threatened to stall its progress. However, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources has revealed that the two companies have now resolved their differences amicably.
And there were really good justification for the minister responsible for mining to do that. First, Ghana is a shareholder in that enterprise. We have 10% in that enterprise. Any delay in continuing the exploitation of that resources affects the people of Ghana directly.
Well, the Defense Minister, Dr. Mani Boama, has disclosed that the Chief of Defense Staff is currently investigating a major theft of ammunition in the Ghana Armed Forces from the Ghana Armed Forces. He emphasized that these are new findings, distinct from the previously reported transfer of ammunition from the Ghana Armed Forces to the National Security, which he addressed during the accountability series. Dr. Mani Boama explained that this fresh discovery predates the illegal 2024 ammunition transfer to National Security. Speaking to journalists after touring key security facilities in the Greater Accra region, he suggested that the surge in civilian ammunition may indicate possible complicity by previous officials. He shared these insights during a media engagement in Accra.
The larger issue of ammunitions belonging to the Ghana Armed Forces that in our recent past have gotten into hands that are not authorized. I spoke about the 2024 transfer of ammunition from the Ghana Armed Forces to the then National Security without due consultation and authorization, which the present National Security Coordinator is seeing to that investigation. just when I thought that was being addressed, we have uncovered another one. And in that case, theft of ammunition. And that was even before the 2024 transfer of ammunition from the Ghana Armed Forces to the national security. I'm bringing these issues out there for us to know that the ammunition found in the hands of civilians.
Well, Ghana has hit a major milestone in heart care, performing its first ever cardiac ablation. The life-saving procedure corrects dangerous irregular heartbeat and was once only done abroad. Now, a local and international team has brought it home, offering hope to thousands at risk of sudden cardiac arrest. Joy News' Stephen Mensah witnessed the historic operation. Here's his report.
Amma, not her real name, a 32-year-old whose life has been shaped by a heart that beats out of rhythm. A short walk left her breathless, dizzy, and afraid. She did not know when her heart would give out. Today, inside the theater at the University of Ghana Medical Center, Amma becomes part of medical history. The first among a handful Ghanaians to receive a cardiac ablation right here at home. It is a lifeline procedure. For years, patients with arrhythmias, a dangerous condition where the heart beats too fast, too slow, or irregularly, had only one option: fly abroad, spend tens of thousands of dollars, or wait for the obvious: death.
These people, it's not because of any particular risk factors or any particular lifestyle choices, but they're born with it. And usually, what is sort of quoted is that about 15% of the population is born with an additional wiring, and out of this 15%, a large percentage of them can end up having SVT.
But this week, that's changed. Ghana joined the League of Nations able to treat these silent heart threats with cardiac ablation, a minimally invasive procedure that uses heat or cold energy to destroy faulty electrical signals in the heart.
First of all, it's not surgery because we don't actually cut or make an incision. We generate heat through the catheter, the ablation catheter, to damage that tissue and cause it to stop there fast.
It's a medical marvel, but one still far out of reach for most.
I would like to see some governmental policies that hopefully address this need because there's a large need of patients here.
Thank you. Today, Amma's heartbeat is steady, but the beat of progress must reach many more like her who live each day under threats from their own heart. Stephen Mensah, Joy News.
Well, showbiz time means Becky times, and she's here in studio, smiling.
Hello to you. How you doing?
I'm okay. How you doing too?
Fine, thank you.
You're looking good. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Thank you. You got the drift.
Yeah.
This evening, you know, every Wednesday we give you spotlight, and so this evening we're putting the spotlight on one gentleman who is coming all the way from Hohwe. Yes, he's called Free the Boy. He has dreams. Do you know that his, mentor or somebody that he looks up to is Kwesi Arthur?
Oh, I never knew.
Yeah, he mentioned that. So he came on Hit FM this morning, and he's been telling us all about his journey to stardom. Free the Boy. It looks like we haven't celebrated all these, musical greats enough. And so bringing back this conversation by Sarkodie, it's just a reminder that we have to go back to
do more.
We need to do more, right. Celebrate our own, celebrate, everybody who is making, the mark
we need to celebrate you too.
In the industry.
Yeah, because you're doing great for the industry, actually. Well, that's all we have time for, and we have a lot of stories on myjoyonline.com. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.